What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast for Let Me Check My Notes. Indeed, it is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Thank you guys so much for finding us and all of our content that we push out of BTT Studios. Now, if you missed yesterday's podcast, it was an hour long, but it's so worth it. All you got to do, you're on the page already. Go and watch the full-length interview with Ben Garrett, the beat writer from Ole Miss, who had all of the tea, as it were, on the departure of Lane Kiffin. Some more developments on that story today as Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, he will be going back to Ole Miss to coach the team in the playoffs because, like we talked about here on the show, if they don't have Lane Kiffin or Charlie Weiss Jr., they have no shot to win because they won't have the offense that has been so prolific. If you're new to our podcast, we support the morning show, which is on Stadium, YouTube, and socials. We never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes because we understand that you have a life, except for yesterday when we did. But it was worth it. Joining me today, as he does every single day, my guy from SureDog USA, Bears beat writer as well, and Bears fan. And today's a big day because he's about to get himself a little old tattoo. Mikey P, are you scared at all for the tattoo?
Coach, I am a little bit, only because when we went for our consultation with the artist, I said, yeah. He said, do you have any other tattoos? And I said, yeah, I do. I got it when I was in high school. He goes, oh, let's see it. He goes, oh, that looks like crap. And I'm like, great. I don't remember the pain from high school. But I've got, Coach, you know me, I'm always prepared. I've got some Ben Johnson quotes that I will be reciting. I've got some Caleb Williams highlights I will be watching while I'm getting inked. I got this.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, today's podcast, as you can see, presented by Not Without Hope. Very ironic for Mikey's day today. He is not without hope that he will not be crying like a little bitch when he gets that tattoo today. I can tell you that right now. All right. So we got a couple of topics to get into. Mikey, first and foremost, the college football playoff rankings came out last night. Interesting. And it's going to be fascinating to see how the games play out this weekend. The top four, Ohio State, Indiana, they will play this weekend. I guess that's kind of where we start because also Georgia's number 3 and Texas Tech has slid into the 4th spot. Oregon number 5, 6 through 9, all SEC teams. And then Texas is 13th on the outside looking in. It's rare that you have a number 1 versus number 2 matchup where the result probably won't affect much because think about it too. Both teams will probably still get a bye because they've had legendary seasons. But you got to put them on opposite sides of the bracket. So they've got to stay 1 and 2 or 1 and 4, I guess it would be. You don't want Ohio State playing Indiana until the national championship game. So where they put them is going to be very, very important.
Yeah, and that's what I would like to see happen as we go into championship weekend here in college football. Whoever wins for me has to be the number 1 seed, and I don't even think that's up for debate. Now, what is up for debate, as you mentioned, is what's next for the losing team. I think Texas Tech needs to roll through BYU as they have already. And because it is the SEC, whoever wins in the SEC, they'll get a top 4 seed and a bye. But if Texas Tech passes the eye test and they roll through BYU, they go to 2 or 3, and the Big Ten loser goes to number 4.
It's interesting, too, because when you look at 6 through 9, A&M doesn't play, and they will be in. Ole Miss moved up to number 6. They don't play, so they're in. Oklahoma is 8th. They don't play, so they'll be in. Then there's Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia earlier this year, 24-21. They have 2 losses. They're 7-1 in the SEC. If they lose to Georgia, and when you look at Notre Dame at 10-2, Miami at 10-2, you got to fit in a group of 5 into one of those spots. Does Alabama get booted if they play in the SEC championship game and they lose when those other 3 teams didn't make it to the SEC championship game?
I hate to say it. I think they do.
Wow.
I hate to say, I think they do. I know Kalen DeBoer has bounced back and they've, rallied the troops after the opening season loss to Florida State. But at this point, we're just talking brand. We're not talking about anyone on Alabama. Ty Simpson deserves to be talked about, but he's not your average or your usual Alabama quarterback. There's nothing enticing to me except the name of the program. There's nothing that makes me feel good or excited or happy about Alabama except for the fact they've just done it for 20 years.
Well, they have had some big wins. I will push back a little bit, but what really hurt them was Oklahoma coming to their house 3 weeks ago and beating them by 2. The Sooners, if you would have told me 2 months ago, the Sooners would even be in the discussion with the schedule they had. There's no way they bounced the Sooners. The Sooners have arguably had the hardest schedule in the entire SEC this year, if you look at it. A&M was undefeated until they lose to Texas last week. I know Sarkisian is going to be pissed. And he already tried. He did everything a coach could do in the post-game press conference, saying, we beat ba. They only lost to Ohio State by 7. We may start to see, if Texas does not get in, we may start to see other teams saying, you know what? If I'm an SEC team, why would I book that? And he said it in his press. He goes, why would you book Ohio State if at the end of the year it's one of my 3 losses and I've had all of these big wins, but yet it hurt me ultimately when you got other 2 lost teams that do get in. You have 3. One of those 3 is Ohio State. It could change how everything's done moving forward, or it could be the reason that they go to 16 or 24 teams.
I absolutely agree. And Coach, I'm a little stay on your toes here. Let's look at what today is in the world of college football. Right now, December 3rd, it's early intent day, right? So we're getting these commits. If you're Steve Sarkisian and you're talking to these recruits, what are you going to say? Hey, I want to beat the best of the best. I want you at my program so we can beat the best of the best. But if we don't, I'm sorry, if we lose 3 games, we might never get a shot. If we lose 2 games, we might never get a shot. So this doesn't just hurt for this season in the college football playoff. It hurts the long-term future for these programs and how they can sell themselves.
There's a lot of dumb people working at the NCAA because rules can be changed on a dime. We know that. We've seen it happen. So when they wait, and to me, everything, Mikey, should be waited for until the college football playoff is over. And I'm not talking I'm talking when it's over, then you open things up because we know that there's going to be calls happening. There's already calls happening ahead of time. But in order for coaches to be able to stay, in order for players to be able to say, they've got to change this. And we all know that. And the only ones that aren't making the move is the guys that could make the move. So now we find out today that Charlie Weiss Jr., in a spectacular decision, and I don't know if it was Lane, I'm assuming it was Ole Miss, because Mikey, these offenses are so intricate. They're so complex that it's the reason that Lane Kiffin got $100 million to go to LSU because of his offense. So if you take those offensive play callers away from Ole Miss, they have no chance. So at least they get one back. What did you make of the decision for Charlie Weiss Jr. to go back, and then he'll go back to LSU?
I think it's great for the program. At least a coach who I feel we haven't seen any whispers or posts on social media that the players didn't want him. I feel a sense of relief for Trinidad Chambliss and the rest of that Ole Miss Rebels program because now you don't have to go us against the world, us against Lane Kiffin, us against the national spotlight. At least you got a guy, you got some continuity there in the program to help carry you. But Coach, if I may, I do want to circle back to one thing. We're talking about the NCAA and the scheduling. You know who else this hurts? Guys in the NFL who are failing as an assistant coach or as a coordinator who may want to look at going to a college program. It was a fascinating article I read, excuse me. If you can't make it in the NFL and you want to look at the going to the college game, all these coaches are moving in December. There's no programs to choose from.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. It has to be changed, and it has to be. It's very simple. It's. I could do it right now. I could write it down, and it would work. I also think, and this is obviously not my call, but there's been a groundswell to bring Nick Saban in to be a commissioner. NCAA, you go out, you have a separate entity that is college football, and then because they're the moneymaker, let's be honest, and then everybody else could stay with the NCAA. I think that would solve a lot of problems because you'd have common sense and you'd have a coach that knows all about the portal, all about the timing. And I think that would be a really, really cool thing. Couple other nuggets, college football today, Mikey. LSU, they got the number one player in the draft, or excuse me, in the class, Lamar Brown. He's verbally committed to LSU, but he's going to hold off on signing. I'm starting to feel like, and we had a little part in this with our interview, that some of the stories are starting to get out there about Lane Kiffin, and players are not stupid, and other coaches are not stupid. They're using this controversy against him when talking to certain players. Are you starting to feel that a little bit too, that the love for Lane Kiffin isn't exactly what it was 3 days ago?
No, that's why you start by saying, "Oh, Mississippi State before the Egg Bowl, they tried to steal Trinidad's." We all love Trinidad, Lane. Good move there. You knew America would defend Trinidad. America's not defending you right now, Lane Kiffin. The college football world is not defending you. This is a smart move by Lamar Brown, who's also like, I'm the belle of the ball. Lane
Mm-hmm.
Kiffin gets to Louisiana. Who's the first place he visits? Who's the first person he visits, Coach? Lamar Brown. And now, if you're Lamar Brown and you start seeing what some of the players currently at Ole Miss are saying or posting or sharing, you go, is this guy really the best thing for my future? Because it's easy to say money talks, NIL talks. But what about commitment? What about loyalty?
It's funny. I just got sent a tweet from A. Christovich. Basically, it's front office sports. They do a lot of reporting on college. And it says here, and this is fascinating. Nick Saban privately counseled Lane Kiffin to leave Ole Miss while publicly defending him on ESPN College Game Day. Saban is being paid to comment on football matters and coaching moves while apparently doing our career advice, doling out career advice to those same subjects. It's fascinating to hear certain coaches, whether it's Pete Carroll, your dad would want you to go. Of course, his dad would want him. He moved 17 times. And Nick Saban, who coached at LSU, went to Miami, then went to Alabama. It's I don't even know how you would give him this advice, because money's not it's not like it's Tulane to Florida. It is the same money, the same thing, the same. I saw Joe Klatt, who I respect a lot, is the voice of Fox Sports with Gus Johnson, and he put it perfectly. He said, no longer is LSU above Ole Miss because of NIL. They're even. And that's what Lane Kiffin, I don't think, gets, is that he's going to be public enemy number one. Brian Kelly reportedly can't even get an interview right now because of the stories that are coming out. And Lane Kiffin, he might be in the same. He might have to take this $98 million if it doesn't work out in 2 or 3 years, and he's not going to get another big time job. He's already had 3 and an NFL job.
I'm truly worried about Lane Kiffin, because if you don't win, that LSU program, that fan base, they're going to let you know right away. And while we're talking about some of the recruiting decisions and coaching staff decisions, what about Coach Ed O, who recently came out after he spoke to Lane Kiffin? Someone asked him, "Hey, do you think you'll get a call?" "Well, he's already called me. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool if he invited me." So Lane, you're gonna set up your coaching staff to have beloved members of that university, whether or not Ed O was successful. You're going to give an opportunity for the fans to go clamor to somebody else. I don't know if Lane Kiffin understands how this works. You're supposed to look good in the public spotlight. Nick Saban didn't tell him that, apparently.
There was a podcast yesterday. It was 3 guys. I watched almost the whole thing. AJ McCarron was one of the 3, the former quarterback at Alabama. I don't know if you saw this or not. And they were talking about, because they live down in the area. And this is what made the Ben Garrett interview so good, is that when you live in a small city like Oxford or Tuscaloosa or whatever, there's a lot of things that go on that get covered up nationally. Nobody talks about it. They love to keep their stuff in-house. And it has become very public that Lane Kiffin is lazy, that Lane Kiffin refused to recruit. All the other coaches, quote, kept the program going because they were the one out there, and Lane Kiffin could not be bothered. In the same vein, Brian Kelly reportedly played golf 54 times in the last year or something like that. So now that it's out there that Lane Kiffin doesn't want to recruit, if you're a recruit and it's all about the dollars, Lane Kiffin is believing that, hey, if I just offer you $1 million, I don't need to come to your house. The other coaches will. 1,000%. He will be behind the 8 ball, because I don't think LSU is the catch that Lane Kiffin believes that it is.
I couldn't agree more, coach. And if I'm a coach in the college football world, or if I'm a recruit, there's one person I want to hear from right now. If it's not Ryan Day, it's Curt Cignetti. Thank you, coach, for gracing me with your presence. Thank you for kicking my door down and giving my mother a hug and telling my father his cooking is so good. Thank you for spending 3 hours here with us, Coach Cignetti, because the emotion and the passion you are giving me as a recruit, I'm now going to not only sign with you, I'm going to give that to you for the next 3-4 years while we continue to elevate this program. Curt Cignetti is absolutely what's right with college football, and more people need to take his example.
No doubt about it. You are watching the Coaching Company podcast. We are here almost every single day, except for Thursdays when we have 2 hours on Stadium. Coaching Company and the Coach and Bro Show. I encourage you to watch both. Let's flip over quickly to some NFL news. The Hall of Fame finalists have come out. 5 individuals. See if my Facebook works. Of course, it's not going to work, but I know this. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are on the ballot together, and they don't exactly see eye to eye right now, Mikey, but hopefully they can both put their swords down and look at each other and say it would only make sense if we went in the same year together, because they did it together. They won all those Super Bowl titles. Do I think they will do that? No, because I think they're petty. They're old men. They don't think that nobody cares except for you. Nobody cares except for you. I don't think it'll happen. Do you think there's a possibility that it could happen?
Let me turn this positively. You know, it'd be one of the greatest moments in NFL history. Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Only one person inducts both men, Tom Brady. That is what the NFL, to me, as a diehard football fan, literally a diehard football fan, I would love that. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has given us some of the greatest moments that I feel go under the radar. One example I'll give you very quickly, Coach. Deion Sanders talking about as a young kid how he was embarrassed of his mother and their shortcomings financially. And then he took the biggest stage of his life to thank his mother for the grit and grind she gave to the family. So I think you let all bygones be bygones. For one day, you bring Tom Brady in the middle and you celebrate your success, which is exactly what the Pro Football Hall of Fame is there to do.
It's a nice thought. It's not going to happen, but it's a nice thought. Tom Brady will not step foot in that stadium until he is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's just how he is. Other NFL news: this guy will be in the Hall of Fame one day. Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm really, really happy that some of this narrative is coming out because he's been a great coach. His interviews are awesome, players coach, all of that. But Mikey, in pro sports, because these are grown-ass men, they need a different voice at some point. And when you've gone over 2 decades as a head coach, you almost turn it into a college franchise where you say, you know what? Let's go. Let's go, city. Let's go, squad. Being over 500 means nothing. And that's been his narrative for several years. Never had a losing season. Okay, 9-8 did what for you? And that's what they've been the last few years. So all of these coaches are failing up. James Franklin can't win a big game, still gets $8 million a year. And now Big Ben, James Harrison, legends of the Steelers, they're saying it's time. It's time for him to leave. But how about he goes to the college ranks? Because I can't think of anybody that has a stronger voice for young men than maybe a Mike Tomlin. And Penn State is a place that's not what it used to be. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's not easy to get to. It's 2 hours from nowhere. And it's a gigantic stadium they have to fill. Do you think that what they're saying could happen or should happen, him leaving Pittsburgh, going to Penn State?
Let me start by saying I respect Ben Roethlisberger and James Harrison for approaching it this way. Instead of just saying, get rid of him, it's not, instead of throwing him under the bus, thank you for opening the door of conversation and opportunity to what Penn State and Mike Tomlin could do. I think it'd be a shot in the arm in good ways for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about a college football program. Are you talking about Penn State and whiteouts? You don't think that would rejuvenate Mike Tomlin? You don't think hearing Mo Bamba in the stadiums on a Saturday night would get his blood flowing a little bit more than trying to talk to 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers about, hey, man, you got 3 broken bones in your wrist. Maybe don't play this week. No, you would get rejuvenated by those young kids and you would rejuvenate the program. That's what college football is built on. I think this would be a perfect fit.
Mikey, when I think of Penn State, I think of some of the great moments of years past. And what I'm talking about is years ago, they have a track just about 100 yards away from the football stadium. And there was a competition between a young coach and a man named Tony Chimmel, legendary ring announcer for WWE. And he said that he was a good long distance runner. I looked at him, 40 pounds overweight, and I said, there's no chance he beats me in a mile run. So we had a bet, and it took 3 months. He had a private benefactor named Shane McMahon, bought him new shoes, new sweat gear. The Rock was on commentary. Michael Cole did the play-by-play. There was 3 golf carts driving around this track. Fans on the outside, WWE talent and personnel on the inside. The bet, 100 push-ups, one at a time. I am Tony Chimmel's bitch if I lose. He says I'm coach's bitch if he loses. I ran a 6:21 mile. It's pretty good. He lost 45 pounds. He ran a 6:25 or 6:26. I had to beat him by a minute. Mikey, it's been 3 years. I spent 3 years doing push-ups one at a time at the Pentagon, on an airplane, at a golf course, you name it. I had it. Can you imagine 5 o'clock in the morning? You're in Grand Forks, North Dakota. You hear somebody on the plane going, hey, excuse me, can the guy in 7B get up, go to the aisle, and give me a push-up? That was my life. And it all started at Penn State. So I have a little bit of PTSD, just a little bit.
First and foremost, congratulations on running a mile. I can't walk half a mile, coach. I listen, no push-ups here. No push-ups here. That's an incredible athletic accomplishment in my book. So hats off to you, sir. No, that's fantastic. And I'm just hoping that we never have to cross that bridge with like a challenge on the show or something. That's why I stopped doing it, honestly. I stopped trying to call for them. I'm good.
It doesn't feel as good winning as it feels bad losing. All right, we never go longer than 20, 30 minutes. That's going to do it for today. Do want to remind you, we have a ton of content. Please follow or subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. Turn on your notifications so you get all of our content. The Ben Garrett interview is live right now. Go check that out. I'll be on SiriusXM as I am every single day. Channel 156, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. 2 to 4 Eastern time. Also, if you haven't watched Coach and Bro yet, it is also live in your feed right now. And that was a really good episode. We'll be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 2 full hours on the Stadium Network. For Mikey P, producer man, I am the coach. Thank you guys so very much for staying with us every single day. We'll see you tomorrow. Coach and Company, the podcast. Take care.